Oh, hi, how can I help you?
Hi there, I'm new to metal detecting and I'd like to buy my first detector today. What do you have in the $300 region?
Would you like it to be waterproof, with an adjustable stem and lightweight too?
Absolutely, and I also need great depth as well. I'd like wireless audio, USB rechargeable, and it would be great if you had software updates.
I've been detecting for 30 years, and there's no way you can get all of that for that price.
And that is where this gentleman is wrong, because there is one option. Only one though. The Nocta Macro Simplex.
And the Simplex becomes the best-selling product worldwide, setting a new bar in terms of price-performance ratio. Simplex has advanced in many ways: hardware, software, design, and ergonomics. Yet one thing has stayed the same: worldwide proven performance and success, backed up by a company that cares. Nocta Simplex New Generation. For every budget.
Evening. It's Thursday, it's 8 o'clock, and it's the Big Detective Show. Good evening, Adrian.
Hello, dear. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. You?
Yep. Oh, I've got a bit of funny things going on when we talk.
You want one of these?
What's that?
Thatcher's Gold.
I can't drink cider.
Oh.
It goes a bit funny with it. You're
I'll
all
leave
right,
them
mate?
there. Leave them there.
Well, what a week.
What a week. What a week today's been.
Yeah. Yeah, another war. So let's all get out and forget about it and listen to those bleeps and just chillax, because it's all going pear-shaped out there. And what a lovely hobby we've got. Just go away and forget about it. Not that I feel sorry for what's going on, but yeah. You've been out. You went detecting on Sunday, didn't you?
I did indeed. I certainly did. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I went up to Facebook has been being a dick again. Let me just fucking does my head. It's just logged me out again. I know what my password is. So and you went now saying me it's the wrong password.
You do.
Yeah, I know it's the right password because I wrote it down in front of me for when this happens.
Anyway, you went to Tectin on Sunday. Whilst you're doing your admin, you're still doing your admin.
I'm still doing my admin, yes. Went when basically it was a private dig for about 45 people, organised by the Ministry of Defence, Ministry of Detect, keep doing that, up in the glorious West Yorkshire region of the country. Exceptionally well organised. It was in aid of a local community hall, and basically all the fields that were connected in and around the village were gifted to the fundraising by the landowners. So there's about 8 different landowners, and we obviously went around all the different fields throughout the day. Morning, it was bloody foggy when we got there, Adrian, and I mean really, really foggy. Madness, in fact. Cleared up, and the views were absolutely sensational. Bit moist in the morning underfoot, but in the afternoon, honestly, you couldn't fault it. It was me, Shane, and Ricardo had an absolutely hilarious time. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Singing and detecting.
Singing?
Yes, I was the singing detectorist.
Yeah. Well, I had my wife was working all weekend, and I went detecting Friday afternoon, evening on my mate from school's youth mission, which is not far from me, and we didn't know much about the land, and he's quite new to detecting, probably a couple of years, a year, and I went with him, pulled up, got in this field. Oh my God. You know, when it's never been detected. And we didn't know. No one said that. We got in. I might actually have a picture. We got in this field. I haven't hit a field like it for years. I took, what machine did I have? I took the Deus 2, actually. And we hit this field, and I've never known anything like it. Signal after signal after signal. I'm wondering why I can't see my phone. That's because I haven't got my glasses on. So this is my mate after. Oh, that's wrong. That's a girl. Sorry. So this is an hour and a half.
Wow. Let's just put that big.
2 hours, sorry.
Not just you.
No, that's him, just him.
All right.
And he's lovely. Guy from school. He's got a stressful job, and he's taken up the hobby, and he's loving it. Went out, so had that Friday evening. Sun came down. It was very hot down south. Hence the picture I sent you, Dave, on Saturday. And then I went out to Texan all day Saturday with Boy Wonder, and went out on Sunday as well. So yeah, beautiful. And I'm out again this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So looking forward to it.
Well, I said I would be counting how long it would take for somebody to say it, and Derek Gibbon got it on 9 minutes past 8.
What's he said? Hello? Sorry. Hello, everyone in the chat.
No. You have to find it now because you haven't noticed.
Moist.
No.
9
Hi,
minutes. Stephen?
Derek Gibbon.
Wait, what? What the
letters?
Hell happened to Dave's face? I've looked at you tonight, and I thought you looked different. What's happened?
I had a shaving incident where I was shaving my face with the shears, and I got caught in the edge of my beard, and I was like, ah! And the blade stopped working, and I turned it to sort of like release it. And when I turned it, released and got the rest of my beard. So,
oh dear,
it'd be nice to see what I actually what colour it is in reality. I've no idea. So well done, Derek. 10 points for that.
Yeah,
Right,
sorry.
before we get tonight's guest on, because the other guests seem to have not realised that they've been sent a link yet. So before we bring tonight's guest on, the weekend, obviously, we've been up there. I spent the weekend with Shane and Ricardo, and we obviously recently done the awards, and Ricardo wasn't able to receive his award because he wasn't a detectable. So just to show you that we did give it him, this is me stood in the street in the fog at 8 o'clock in the morning with Ricardo. So, obviously, somebody wasn't able to join us at Detectable and at the Robbie Cup Memorial. So, we had the vote, obviously, for the Big Detecting Show Awards, and Unsung Hero of the Year, that's battered, and I'll tell you why later, and it'll be replaced. And your certificate. So you are an unsung hero, Rick. You do a lot for everybody, and I know you won't accept it graciously, but you'll moan about it. But this is off the community.
Thank you all. What can I say? Eh?
You
Love
drink
you all
your
to
Bovril.
bits. Look, that coffee.
Lovely. Well done. Well done. Well done, Ricardo.
Well deserved.
He does so much, and no one will ever know because he don't shout about it. He does do
No,
a lot.
not at all. And you know what? I'm actually looking forward now to next year's awards voting and nominations, because so much can change in a year, and so many things can. People can come into the hobby. People can leave the hobby. Amazing finds can be found. Coins of excruciatingly amazingness can be discovered, and
Well, our guest will talk
life-changing
about
history. He will indeed. So, without further ado, we've been looking forward to speaking to him again for a while. We met him for the first time last year, and he had him on as a guest, and he was fantastic because it's just doesn't know nothing about it really. I've got something to show everyone later. I need, in fact, sorry, Greg, just before. No, it doesn't matter because I can't remember where it is. I've got something to show everybody that I can't identify, and people in certain Facebook groups, because you're a metal detectorist, won't help you. So, anyway. Greg from Spinks, how are you, dear?
Good evening,
Greg.
chaps. How are you, Dave? How are you, Adrian? Good to see you
Yeah,
again.
good.
Marvellous,
You've got a
thank
lovely
you.
office at home.
Oh, there you go. This is where it all happens. The magic happens at Spink. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
it's not your bedroom now.
No, this one isn't. Last time you saw me in my kitchen. This time you've got me in the workspace at Spink. Yeah.
Oof, we're keeping him late.
Are you the only one there, Greg?
No comment.
I just make
There
a
are
note.
other people here. Yes, there are. Yeah.
Lone worker risk assessment, Dave. Need to make
Yeah.
sure next time he's on the show,
As Greg's union appointed representative, Greg has signed certain documentation which allow him to do similar working in the workplace. So I'm not concerned.
That's very
No.
good. There you go.
No.
And I signed up to this, so fair's fair.
Yeah. And you're in the London office at the moment, Greg.
Yeah, as opposed to New York or Hong Kong or Singapore.
I was hoping you were going to say Isle of Wight or something like that. Or
That'd be nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and we'll find out why you said them three places momentarily. But have you actually been to them places with the company?
Yeah, I mean, so since last year, because it was actually literally a year to the day since I was on here before, I've done New York, Pittsburgh, Germany, France, Switzerland, all in the last year. So yeah,
Wow.
Coins take me places.
And anyone who's new to the hobby or has never heard of Spink, do you want to just give a quick brief introduction? What Spinks?
Yeah, gladly so. I mean, from the point of view of Spinks, I mean, you will probably know us if you come from the metal detecting world or the coin collecting world from our Bible, the thing we produce every year, and I'm on the committee that actually approves what goes in it. So Coins of England, if you're familiar with it, you might have a copy from 5 years ago. You might have this year's copy. It's basically a labour of love that we produce every year to give you a rough valuation on most of the coins that England has produced, but we also do books on Scotland, Ireland, tokens, Roman coins. You even get film posters now as well, which Dave is kindly showing us. But yeah, I mean, Spink is basically the name for coins and has been since, I think the earliest records we have, 1820. So we've been doing it a fair few years. And we've basically just championed that. And, you know, in the last couple of years, we've really gone back into the metal detecting world because of obviously my previous line of work, for want of a better expression, in metal detecting before I joined Spink in 2016. And yeah, we've really gone back into the passionate side of the hobby, not just the collectors, but also the people that are going out and finding stuff. So it's really, really good. It's a really good partnership we've got going on at the moment.
And as you said, you've got into that side of the hobby, and really you're coming back into the hobby. Spinks was last year at the RCM, and obviously this year you were back again. And while I mention RCM, they've finally decided to turn up, these two bloody vagrants. So it's
Right, Gary.
Good evening, Cookie. Good evening, John.
So Cookie and John have basically come to steal your thunder tonight, Greg.
Oh, that's good. I mean, to be fair, they're more
They're very shy. They're very shy.
Yeah,
He's quite happy to sit back and listen to Greg for a bit.
So Gary kindly offered to come on the show tonight to do a bit of a big reveal. Obviously, Rodney Cook's now taken place, the Detect Off, the No Frills Weekender, and Gary's disappeared. Hi, John.
That was his big reveal.
His big reveal was he was leaving John.
So the figure is,
no, I better wait.
Yeah, we've got to build it up first.
He's taking his clothes
How big is the check?
Yeah.
He's got it engraved on an old blankety blank checkbook and pen.
I'm writing it down as we speak. He's got to add it up a minute. So before we go any further, could I just actually just say, before he reveals the amount of the check and everything else, that, you know, this year, obviously, we worked tirelessly hard to try and get, obviously, to a really big figure. And we had a big figure in mind. And it only came about and obviously the amount we have raised has only been achievable because of every single person that has obviously done their utmost to actually get this figure done in you know, the full amount. So I mean, it's pretty incredible. All the groups that have joined in, Knights Templars that have done their raffle, all the other people, all the single people that have done football cards, fodder, everybody. There's so many people that we just can't thank everybody. Obviously, all the marshals, all the traders, everybody. Well, Gary will tell you, you know, there's so many people that are involved in it, and it's got bigger and bigger since last year. And you know, it's just incredible that we've got to a point now where we can raise this sum of money. It's phenomenal, and it's just, you know, it's mind blowing, really.
Yeah, we're like John's just, I'll reiterate on what John has just been saying. There's too many people to thank that personally and name them, because we'd be here all night, as you all know. There's so many, it's just impossible. But you all know who you are, you know, and Greg with Spinks have been with us over the last couple of years now, and are heavily involved in the RCM, especially with the competition that we started and everything else. And, you know, obviously you guys with the big detecting show who support it, Adrian up there, who's one of the unsung heroes of the RCM. He doesn't really, you know, shout what he does, but he really is an unsung hero of the RCM.
It's illegal what I do.
We wouldn't be here without you, you know, but it's incredible, really, how far we've come. You know, we have landowners approaching us now. In fact, we've just heard the news today that we've got a big estate that have never allowed metal detecting on it. They're very, very strict on who they allow on the land and what they do. But we've now found out that we have got access to an estate that we could possibly use for the RCM, which is fantastic. And, you know, we're doing a check presentation with one of our farmers, farm managers, and it's there's a couple of different things this year. we're obviously the majority of the money that we've raised will be going to the RUHX Cancer Charity and Brighter Futures Cancer Charity. But there's a couple of other things. What the estate manager from the No Frills rally a couple of weeks ago, he has a charity close to his heart with his landowners, the people, his bosses, the people he worked for. It's a charity called Countryside Learning. And what they do is they teach young children to respect the countryside. And it gives young children from disadvantaged families or disadvantaged backgrounds, inner city children who've never probably even seen a tree, possibly, you know, apart from the ones that are in the park, but it gives them a chance to go and learn about the countryside, respect the countryside, and learn about farming and types of farming and everything else. And when he mentioned to us that he would allow us to use his estate is for the RCM, he did ask if we could make a donation to those, and we thought, well, of course we could. You know, that's what the RCM is all about. And not only that, it also means that when we do the check presentation, there are going to be at least 6 huge landowners who are part of this charity, and all of them have expressed interest in what we do and possibility of giving us some more land for future RCMs. And that is effectively an incredible thing, because that's the hardest part, as we all know, as detectorists. The hardest part of the hobby is finding somewhere to go nowadays and getting permission. We can all go and buy a metal detector. They're easily accessible now through, you know, shops, online, secondhand shops, eBay, whatever. You know, we can all get access to metal detectors. But one thing that many people can't get access to is a permission to metal detectors. So many people buy a metal detector and then spend months and months and months not being able to go anywhere apart from the organized digs. So, you know, to us, to get this is incredible. But so we are donating to that. We obviously are making a donation to the Ermine Street Guard charity as well for their amazing contribution to RCM. They were fantastic, weren't they? They're a little bit eccentric, but they were incredible. The owner, Chris, is completely eccentric. He's a lovely chap, amazing chap. But I always remember during the weekend driving past where they were staying and just taking his armor off because he was so hot, and he was just sat in a pair of very small pants. Roman centurion, and it was quite surreal.
Roman pants,
you know. And the other thing is as well is I was queuing up for a burger with a Roman centurion and a standard bearer, which was quite funny.
You should have got a picture of that.
Not in his pants, no. But there is a photo of me queuing up for a burger with a Roman standard bearer, which was quite surreal moment. But they were incredible for that, and they really did add to the fun of the weekend. And so we're making a donation to those as well. So it's been a great year, been a very tiring year. You know, we've put on 4 events this year, haven't we?
Yeah, 4. One at the beginning of the year, one in March.
Oh yeah, that was the very first event was when Adrian was accosted by a very strange restaurant owner, wasn't he?
Yes.
Remember it?
Yeah. I hope that restaurant isn't still open.
I got
a lot of back massages.
The restaurant owner.
Dave's got a picture. Oh God, here we go. Now,
and he was actually so good at that restaurant. Gary got him to headline at this year's RCM on the comedy night.
Well, he should. But that photo, the guy wasn't pulling that face. He looked like that. And he looked like that all the time, and I kept saying to Fodder, it's not funny because he might be having a stroke or something, because he was like, and then he'd suddenly go like that, And then he just kept massaging me, didn't he, Gary? He kept rubbing my back constantly.
I thought he was marinating you. Maybe you were going to end up in a curry.
Yeah, I think I was, but it was lovely food in that restaurant. But no, I think like what you said, and John, everyone in the hobby, it's great because everyone gets to detect. If they can't detect, they meet up, make friends. You've got the evening entertainment, good land, and especially hats off to the marshals because with the magazine and big detecting show, we sort of see the trade side of everything more than people see at the front. Yeah, John, everyone working through the night, early hours in the morning, clearing the rubbish, going around checking everything's okay, sorting everything out. It is flipping crazy. I don't know why you do it. Well, I do know why you do it because of the charity, but the marshals for me, a fantastic job. They're not paid. No one's paid. It's all voluntary. And this year, especially, 4 events. People have taken time off work because obviously it's Fridays. People have obviously not gone in on Monday because they're actually burnt out. So hats off to all the people, like you say, Gary, and especially the marshals. But last year, before we mention the amount, how much was raised last year?
John?
86 or
84.
84,600 and something pounds it was, yeah.
84,262.
Yeah.
I've got the RCM magazine.
I know.
So I mean, some of the things you've got to remember from that, obviously, is last year we had a very large donation came in from the coin, the rights to the coin sale from Spinks. And obviously we, from last year to this year, with the change in COVID and everything went up a lot. And what a lot of people don't realize is that, the diesel cost for the transit vans we ran as the minibuses this year, the generator, the gators, the fuel cost was a lot higher. Obviously, we look at all of those sort of things and look where we can try and save money, because at the end of the day, what we try and do right from the very outset is budget and obviously look at the costs of things and try and make things cheaper. Like our Marshall's food bill and stuff like that was a lot cheaper this year because we pre-prepared a lot of that, and we actually
didn't eat.
I'm going. But no, we ran a kitchen. We ran a kitchen a lot different this year, and we obviously bought stuff in bulk from Booker's and stuff like that, just because we look at everything. We look at all the costs after when we do our roundup in a month or so's time with all the marshals that are available down this neck of the woods. We go through and say what we think worked well, what didn't work well, what we can try and improve on, because it's not like a business where we have to do it for margins. What we're doing it for is just to make sure all the marshals are happy. It's very difficult to please everybody, as you can imagine, and obviously make sure that we run efficiently, everything gets done, where we can improve next year, all those sorts of things. So if you look at the costs of everything, the cost went up this year probably by about 15%. So when we actually get to the figure that we've made this year, it makes you realize that actually we've made another leap forward in the progression of people, the people bringing money in from other sides of it, the Knights Templars raffle, fodders, all the other people that come along and present their check and everything else. That's really pushed it up another notch this year, because there's no way we could have ever done this just by ticket sales alone and doing it by ourselves. It's just that massive group of people that are involved in it, the envelope that comes around it. So, I mean, hats off to everybody. I mean, as you say, Gary said, we can't mention everybody. We could try, but everybody knows that what they've done, the unsung heroes that, like Ricardo, that do a lot in the background that people don't see, all the other marshals that give up so much time that nobody really knows about that. We know. We appreciate it. We can tell you till we're blue in the face, but I mean, they know who they are, definitely. So, hats off to everybody.
Yeah, it's been tough this year with a lot of things. We deal with a lot with the RCM. We have to deal with a lot. We've had our fair share of attacks and stuff and whatever. I would talk about that, but we've had our fair share of that. For some reason, we've upset a few people. We've ruffled a few feathers, and they don't like it. Well, tough as far as I'm concerned, because we're raising money for people in need. And that's the be all and end all of it. Dave, just quickly.
Sorry, Gary, you were talking. Go on.
You know when Adrian got accosted by the restaurant owner, it affected him.
I remember it. Yes, yeah.
It affected him quite badly. Have you got the photo that I sent you of him at the RCM when he was a bit scared?
If you give me a moment.
What this year?
If you give me a moment, I have got it.
No, it's just something that I knew it had affected you, and when we were at the rally, I could tell by this photo that has appeared for view.
I must admit, I did forget to download it, Gary. But
I don't get scared, Gary.
Well, I think it's more a look of shock. Maybe you thought he was coming back to get you. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
That's a classic case of Adrian mincing about.
I did say to Dave I was just going on a mince with beer. So yeah.
Anyway,
some sort of disformity there going on, but
I
yeah.
don't quite know. You feel like you've just come off of Strictly, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, Gary, I haven't got any drums. But big
screen.
Hold on.
Make it big, Dave. Make it big. Please.
I'll rub it.
I am very, very pleased to announce, along with my older brother here, the amount raised by everybody at the RCM and everybody associated with the RCM and all of you who attend and all of you who help. And like we've just said, the amazing amount of money that we've raised this year is £103,640.27.
Wow.
That is absolutely phenomenal.
We've broken the six figure.
You broke the sound barrier and the 100 grand barrier. Congratulations.
Where are you?
We are
regional news. Where are you, BBC? Yeah,
well, you know what?
And John and all that.
No, it's hats off to everybody. You know, we can't say any more than that, can we?
John, you haven't got a hat on. Your wig would come on and off if you had a hat on. And you took it off.
You know what? I emailed BBC and ITV News, the West Country version of BBC and the West Country version of ITV, and I do it every year after, before and after the event, and I give them all the details, and I sent them an email again.
What address did you send your email from, Gary? Because remember about that incident last time where they all blocked you.
Yeah.
When you sent the wrong pictures.
But again, no reply whatsoever. Not even
Poor Lisa.
Not even an acknowledgement back.
That's classic. I've had that from media and marketing myself. It's classic. Keep trying.
Well, RCM Mag will certainly be running an article on it this weekend, Gary. We're not mainstream news, but fuck them. Sorry.
That's 2 before the watershed. Are you keeping count, Adrian?
Yes, I am. I think I'm going to have to go soon because it's really upsetting me, all this slander. And it's vulgar. It's uncouth. There's no need for it.
But we, as you can imagine, are exceptionally proud of that. And it's an amazing amount of money that we've raised this year to go on top of what we've already done. We're getting close to 500,000 now, pretty much on top of that. So, give or take a little bit, we've raised best part of £500,000 with RCM now. And we both said that we wanted to raise £1 million, and we're almost halfway there. And it's something that the thing is, the RUH were speaking to me at the rally this year, and they have said that the money we raise now, the money that we're donating now, not only goes to helping people, but it has actually saved lives. The money, there are people now alive today because of the money that we have donated. And to me, that is everything that the RCM was set up for. if we've stopped one person from passing away from cancer, and we've saved one family from going through what I went through, and many of us have gone through, the watching a loved one slowly dying of this evil disease, and being taken from you too soon. If we save one family from that and one person's life, then what we've done and all the work that we do and everything else and all the graft and the crying and the sweating and the tears, it's all been worth it as far as I'm concerned. But the amazing thing is that the RUH said to me that there are people alive because of what we're doing. And that, to me, is exactly the reason what the RUH, what the RCM stands for, and what we want to try and do. The more people that want us to continue, and if all of you out there want us to continue, we will continue. We will continue. If you don't want us to continue, but
yeah, I think Gary.
He only doesn't want you to because he's got to do the website, the ticketing.
Yeah. No, I think no one would want it to stop, and I think more as well. There are people who rely on the hobby, whether they've got PTSD or they've lost someone or whatever. We spoke about this many years ago, Gary. When we lost our dads, you lost your dad, I lost my dad, and the day after my dad died, what's the first thing I do? Sit at home moaning? No, I went out to text him, and it cleared my head. And the Rodney Cook rally, I know from dealing with the ticket sales, there are some people that is the highlight of their year. And they meet up with likewise people. So it's working both ways. It's helping the charities and it's helping people as well. Yeah. Everyone has major issues in their life. And when they meet up at Rodney Cook, it's all forgotten. Everyone has a laugh. And I think next year, potentially, we need something to go a bit wrong. Like Larry might have an accident in the Gator. And, I can just picture it. Metal detecting rally that's made over £500,000. Young boy caught driving Gator drunk, and it's Larry. You know about Larry, don't you, Greg?
I know it's not something that we hit upon, and but the one thing where a rally has had when a rally has had media highlighted all over it was one where you were unfortunately at, Gary. And it was the cake incident. And that's the only one that has had the big bloody palaver over it by the news services. Anyway, listen, Gary, John.
Yes.
A fantastic amount. Well done to you. Well done to the RCM team. Well done to everybody. And we do appreciate you coming on the show to do the reveal. However, I am going to let you go because that lovely young man sat next to you there.
Apologies, Greg.
In his own office.
No apologies needed. No, it's just like last year, you turned up on, where were you? Outside Manchester, weren't you, on your drive home from a show? It's just the sudden reveal of Cookie. So, it's obviously a thing now.
I'm stalking you, mate. I'm stalking you.
Act. Yeah, we've got to be the double act now, Cookie. That's what this is.
I think we are.
Can I just
and Spinky show?
Dave, can I just mention something before we go?
Of course, John.
Wayne was on the show 2 weeks ago, talking about the doing a collaboration between him, Nick Berry, and James from Treasure It.
Yeah.
Remember what he was saying about he wanted to do something? Well, I've started that with them. We were in the caravan.
You bought the wood.
About the wood, I got wood. So I'm going to provide some timber for them, not wood, timber. I'm going to provide some materials for them. And if they need any glass for the project, obviously I'm the person to provide that for them. I've already made a little group for them and spoken to them about it. So that's going to come underway. And obviously next year at the actual rally, hopefully it can be auctioned. What they make, it'll be a one-off piece. It'll be very individual from 3 really talented blokes that, it means a lot to us for them to do this for us. And they can... it can be auctioned off and we can see where we go with it. So it'd be quite interesting. Perhaps we might be able to bring some pictures on later on in the year to yourselves or early next year to show the stages that it's been at the time. So,
So you're going to send a picture of the wood?
No.
That's what Gary's good at. No, well done, John. Well done. Well done.
Yeah,
Well, that's one thing that's underway. We're all ready for next year.
We got to get ready because me and John are off for a Jolly Boys weekender tomorrow with the boys. So
yes, we know Mr. Lee's mentioned it once or twice last weekend. Just once or twice. Me and Shane just were like,
we're off for a boys' weekend away.
Yeah.
Metal detecting, drinking, and eating. So yeah.
Adrian, me, you and Greg should start doing that.
No, I'm not in stuff like that. I'm married. I don't.
Why do you assume we are?
There's having fun, and what Gary and all his mates get up to, I don't really think it's suitable. My wife wouldn't like it. So yeah. Are you going to?
That's the only reason stopping you.
Well, last year it was Thailand, wasn't it? Where are you going this year? Amsterdam.
I don't know yet. All we know is that we got to turn up at a meeting point with our passports and a snake bite kit. And a snake bite kit. And that's basically all we've been told. Passport and snake bite kit.
No, it wasn't snake bite kit. It was pints of snake bite.
Yeah, I was just about to say snake bite, yeah. No,
sorry, John, we're going to let you go. Thanks again. And we will see you both very soon. Well done again. And well done to everyone. All the fundraising.
Thank you, everybody. And we will all see you next year at the RCM. Watch this space. We will have an early one-dayer in the new year, as we always do. So we'll put all the
Can't get rid of him, can we?
No.
And we'll see you.
You're breaking up, Gary. Breaking up.
Gary. Good night, both. Take care.
Bye.
See you both.
Thank Christ they've gone. Oh my God, don't they?
I've got this thing here right now. It's saying kick from studio or ban from studio. And my fingers so confused.
Yeah. Oh, they're just honestly. They're both drunk as well.
I don't know what it's kicked though. Phew.
They've been drinking heavily all day. I know that. Well, Gary.
I know for a fact they were with Tony Kaywood earlier.
Oof.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Sorry, Greg. Hi, Greg. Greg, sorry, I've got to mention Larry about I mentioned randomly a young child having an accident in a gator. So there's a wonderful guy in the chat called Nick Berry who's an artist. And
he wasn't on Heartbeat.
No. The Fodder Phil, you might have seen or heard of.
Oh, I know Fodder, yeah.
He asked him, can you make me a ventriloquist doll that looks like Gary and call it Larry? So most of us would go on eBay and find a cheap ventriloquist doll from the 70s and just put it in RCM stuff. No, not Nick Berry. He got a solid lump of wood, chiseled out like a Pinocchio face, but with that big nose, hollowed it out, created all the mechanics for the eyes, the mouth and everything, made the body and everything. Honestly, it is absolutely amazing, isn't it, Dave? He did it all for Rodney Cook, and Fodder went round with it. I think he went round with it at the No Frill. Yeah. So hats off to this whole community involved in this. It is absolutely scary. It's not a cult, but it could be a cult. I mean, there's people doing stuff for free. There's people donating stuff, and then there's this young mannequin puppet thing, which I think should be put in a gator next year with a can of lager, a brick on the pedal, and it drives into a tree. And someone takes a photo, and then that would hit the news. We need something like that. Sorry, I shouldn't really say that but yeah, we need something bad but good, something to get the press and then take the mickey out.
Bad publicity is good publicity. That's what they always say.
It is. Yeah, it's all good PR. Anyway,
hold my can of Pepsi. I'll be back in 10.
Yeah,
big detecting show goes viral. Yeah, that's what we need.
Oh gosh,
big detecting show's got virus.
Greg, one thing Gary did mention then is about how Spinks been involved with Rodney Cook the last couple of years. Did you just want to expand on that? Because Gary,
it seems like the obvious thing. I mean, Spink by trade is an auction house, and obviously, people that have been fortunate enough to find lovely things have often come to us to consign them for auction. So one of the things that we thought of alongside, giving back and doing the books that we do every year was obviously to see how we could contribute at the the big weekend at the beginning of September every year. And so for 2 years running now, we've done this big charity auction. We've got people that may not necessarily have ever had a feel of what a traditional auction is with the rostrum auctioneer, but raising money for charity. So I think this year we raised £450. I think last year it was a couple of thousand. So all adding together, it really helps. But it's a genuine joy to be an auctioneer in a setting very outside of the traditional auction role, but still getting people excited, young children, mums, dads, uncles, daughters, everyone, really, really interesting atmosphere, but all united by one thing, which is their passion for history, their passion for, raising money for charity. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's a feeling that you just don't get even in, my line of work, because nowadays most people just bid online. So you don't often see a lot of people, or don't see the whites of their eyes when they're bidding. So to actually have that, it's great. It's great.
Oh, do you know what? I never thought of that. What percentage on well, it could vary, but what percentage is in the actual auction room compared to online?
If you see an auction today where there are more than 50% of people in the room winning, it's probably a suspect auction. Most of the auction bidding, probably 80-90% now, is online. People just can't be bothered to get out of bed. They'll just sit in bed with a cup of tea or something. And
we've got one in Congleton called Whittaker and Biggs, and we used to go every Friday morning. It was everybody in the room. Post-COVID, when they started doing stuff online, I went down to pick something up for my brother last Friday, and there must have been 10 people in the room. Yeah, when they put their lots on later on to show you how much they went for, a significant amount of money, hell of a lot more than they used to go for.
Yeah. The internet has been the great leveler, but it's also been the great destroyer of traditional bidding. And so our challenge now as auctioneer is to come up with something that motivates people to come in, especially with the difficulty coming to London with the new, ULEZ restrictions and all that kind of stuff. It makes it harder and harder. And so we've tried to make evening auctions. We've tried to make functions alongside them to try and make it engaging. In the same way, kind of like shopping malls have decided to make it not just shopping.
Adrian, you've just mentioned ULEZ. Spinks are sending people out to bring the ULEZ cameras down. That's what it is.
that would be a hell of a claim, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That'll get the media metal detecting.
Oh my God!
Media.
Yeah.
I think I just saw a balaclava on the desk behind Greg.
I was slightly concerned earlier when you were talking about mannequins and things. I was thinking that's quite dark over there. Something's not going to pop out from behind me. There's not going to be some horrific moments.
Somebody walking past with a ULEZ camera.
Are they quite old, the offices you're in?
So weirdly, we're in what used to be an old post office, sorting office. So every so often you can feel the snail rail come underneath you. And the building vibrates because you've still got the postal service going underneath you. But it's built 1902, I think, and it was renovated, the last couple of years. So it's only 100 years old, so it's a bit younger than us as a company. But it's just kind of an apt setting because obviously I'm the head of coins, but we have stamps and banknotes and medals. So to have stamp sales in an old post office is kind of very fitting. And because we're only a block from the British Museum. Obviously, we haven't been involved in any of the things that have gone walkabouts from there. But it's very useful because as soon as if someone calls you and say, "Oh, where are you in London?" You say, "Oh, the British Museum, just head for there and just look out for the Spink flag because you'll see us." It's quite useful, that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd come and pay a visit, but the day I'd come, he'd be in Singapore or something, probably.
Welcome anytime, Dave. Welcome anytime.
Greg, so let's just say I'm a detector. Well, I'm a detectorist, but
hypothetically speaking, Adrian, you're a detectorist.
Yeah, hypothetically speaking, I go out this weekend. I've been detecting for 6 months. I've just got my first permission. I go out with my detector and I find a gold coin, and I come home and I look at it and I think, oh, I haven't got a Spinks book. I go online, I Google it. And I think, oh, that's worth potentially £10,000. How do they go about contacting Spinks? And I know it's a simple question, but do they?
It actually isn't, because this is something that I'm really focused on. Obviously, I'm fortunate that I have grown up with media and technology around me. I remember doing YouTube videos myself when I was 15, 16. So I'm almost, it's second nature to me. WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. And so I've tried to bring that into a line with a business and a corporate setting. So the vast majority of consignments now that we get from single finds or people that might not know us would probably actually be through conversations over Facebook. And so things like the famous gold penny that we sold back in January 2022, that came from a Facebook post rather than any email exchange, any telephone calls, anything of that nature. But some of it is brand recognition. So, we come up very, very highly. When you look on Google and you search rare gold coin or something, Spink is going to come up pretty highly. So, but that comes back to our legacy, the fact that we've been doing it for a long time. We have a lot of meta tag data that historically pushes people our way. But actually, it's the proactive stuff that I'm really focused on. So if people find something or they post it on one of the forums, and there are hundreds of forums that I'm now a member of, either as a specialist identifier or just someone who is a go-to source of information for auctions, I will get suggested probably 10 or 20 new coins a day that will pique my interest. And then the challenge becomes, of course, with the new Treasure Act that came in at the end of July, which is still a confusion. And it's something that I'm trying to speak to the National Fines Advisor at the British Museum about, is if it's recorded on, let's say, the early medieval coin corpus, if you've got an Anglo-Saxon coin, or a Celtic stater is put on the Celtic Coin Index, does that classify as recording? Or do you still need to put it on pass as well? And we have all been in the situation with how long it takes to deal with pass fines, to deal with the FLO. If you, of course, actually have an FLO and the position is not vacant at the moment, or they answer their emails, we've all been there. And so there's a lot of question marks that we have. And I now have to prove where something was found, when, what 3 words is used quite a lot now for site fines, in order to justify to the British Museum, who are obviously literally in our shadow, always looking to make sure that we're doing it right. So the legislation has made things more complicated, but in the same sort of way, I mean, it's sort of sharpened a lot of the mentality of, 99% of detectorists are out there. They want to do it because they love history. They love finding something and staking their claim to something and putting their name in the history books. And so we have to be in a position to welcome and help them with that, and we don't want to be there saying X marks the spot. Let's publicize the world where you're digging these things up. That's not the point. It's trying to get to a position where, okay, if you have to sell that coin because you've got to pay your farmer half and half, or you just want to see what it's worth, okay, let's preserve that history so that myself in 5 years' time looks back on it and goes, oh, that's great, we now have a really documented corpus of the things that have been found. And so alongside my work with putting the stuff into the Coins of England, and we probably add 1 or 2 new Anglo-Saxon varieties or types every year, and that will go to the Celtic series, it will go to the English series. I'm constantly accosted with, oh, this type needs to go in, or this image needs to be put in for this type. All of that comes together and harmonizes. So, you see how one metal detecting confined can be put into as many databases as possible, can obviously go forward to sell and get a record result, hopefully, but is also going to add to the background knowledge that is then added to the catalogues every year. So it's a lot of thought goes into it, but actually there's a lot of method to it that just sort of seamlessly goes through the system with everything I do, basically.
Thanks for that.
Greg, how far do you actually reside from the Spinks office?
Is this like some sort of game of guess where I live?
No, at all. It's just, you'll be finishing the show at 9:30.
Yeah.
You may continue to work. You'll go home. And I was looking at the sales calendar, and you have got all sorts going on this week. You've the Numismatics Collectors Series sale, the Rhodesia Admiral issue.
Fortunately, I don't have to deal with the stamp sales. But yeah, I mean, that's
all sorts going on at Spinks, so you must be very busy, is what I'm saying. So you mustn't live that far away from.
No, it takes me about an hour to commute in. I'm fortunate I live just outside London, but that hour's good because some of the things you're doing, whether you're answering emails or whether you're just thinking about problem solving. So one of the things that I've got going on at the moment is, and I'm happy to do exclusives on some of the things that I'm dealing with, but is trying to track down provenance for a particularly rare coin from 1831. And that involves me literally hammering emails out to museums, institutions, reps, secretaries, societies, not just in the UK, but internationally. So in the provenance hunt, like with some of the record coins that we sold recently, I will, in happier times pre-February 2022, I have been in contact with the Hermitage in Russia. I've been in contact with the Berlin Museum. I've been in contact with Chicago. I've been in contact with California, all to find out where are these coins going and how many are known. Because once, instead of it being wishy-washy and guessing that there's 5 or there are 10 examples known, I say, okay, there are 6, and these are the 6. Bang, 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 bang. Because once you do that, you change the market force on it, because people realize, okay, I know how many there are. I know what price to put on it. So that's really my role in the coin sense. But yeah, as you mentioned, we do approximately 140 auctions a year. So pretty much one every 3 days. And that will cover coins, banknotes, stamps, medals, film posters, objet virtu, which is like silver pin cushions or interesting bits of silverware. We've had NFTs and photographs. We've had music. We've had handbags, whiskey, cigars. It just goes on and on and on, because you have as many collectibles as people are interested in collecting them. And you have very different ranges. So I'm fortunate that I focus on London and America, and of course with a flavour of Europe. But my colleagues in Hong Kong and Singapore focus on their markets in East Asia and a very different market audience and what they're interested in, which is at the moment, a lot of it is driven by buying back things that have gone overseas, as well as the new age stuff, which is the whiskies and the cigar sales, which are unbelievably lucrative now. If you happen to have a Cuban cigar pre-revolution, the market for those has gone up tenfold in the last year because there's a shortage of them. So if you've got cigars, it's worth thinking about selling them.
Roughly how much?
I have seen single cigars going for anywhere between £500 and £1,000 each for a cigar. So yeah.
Well, if they smoke them afterwards.
I don't. That's the thing I don't know, because it's the same with in collecting and investing in whiskies. Because the whole thing is you buy a barrel, you don't drink it, which I think is quite alien. If you're going to buy something, you should enjoy it. But there are investors out there that just like to sit on things. So I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
And I've just got a quick question regarding recording fines. I know this Nick Berry, the man who made the puppet, ventriloquist doll, he recorded a coin with Martin Allen at the Fitzwilliam Museum.
That's EMC.
Does he still have to record it with his flow?
That is purely on him. Ultimately, I mean, the communications I have had with PASS and with Michael Lewis, who heads up the Portal Antiquity Scheme, is they only recognize their database as the official point of recording. So if something is deemed to be treasure or is speculated to be treasure, you could only do it through the Portal Antiquity Scheme. And that's fairly clear cut. But obviously what we've been used to for the last 5-10 years is a lot of auction houses, ourselves included, have recorded things simply through EMC and have been able to sell with that. Of course, what we don't know with this new legislation is EMC enough? Or are we going to have a situation where, the British Museum say, no, you can't do that. That needs to be recorded as well. And so that's what I'm currently in discussion with them about to clarify, because technically speaking, although the early medieval coin corpus run by Martin Allen is backed by the Cambridge University, where he works, it's not recognized as a national database, which seems kind of strange considering it works on a national level. In the same way the Celtic Coin Index is run by Oxford University, but isn't recognised on a national level. And so what I want to get to a position of is, one, can there be multiple sources of reporting? And, whether auction houses and ourselves can be involved in that, because, of course, a lot of things are consigned to us that we're quite happy to record on behalf of the finder to speed up the process more than anything, or whether or not actually EMC will be good enough. But if in doubt, record it with an FLO if you're lucky enough to have one that's in place at the moment. But I'm not going to harp on and extol the virtues of the fines liaison officers or the system, because I know that people have a lot of issues with it. And it's they're both on funding, both on technology, all these things that it's very, very difficult. But I think it goes back to the basics, which is what is the reason you go out and find this stuff? And if you canvass 100 detectorists, probably 98 of them would say, yes, I'm not motivated by the money, I'm motivated by the history behind it. There will always be a couple that just say, yeah, I do it for the money, and that's fine. But we have to catch those people as well and say, okay, we'll just record it before you sell it. Doesn't matter to you, but it really matters to the next generation that are logging it.
I mean,
Rob Random's just asked me to show this picture while it's fresh in mind of that's Larry.
That is amazing. That's
made
made
out
of
like
solid wood.
Yeah,
No.
zoom in, Dave. Can you make it big, Dave, or no?
I don't know.
No.
He's got a suspicious amount of mayonnaise behind him as well.
He's got a suspicious cigarette in his mouth as well.
Yeah.
You think that's a legitimate cigarette, or whether that's something else, something stronger?
I don't think it's
the devil's
no,
lettuce.
I know he posted it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there is a Nick Berry on Facebook. Is it on Rodney Cook, Dave, or there's just a picture of this lump of wood sketched out?
Yeah,
with
you
pencil?
shared. I'll try and tag you in it when. In fact, Nick, would you be ever so kind as to share the pictures of the start to finish of the
Young
piece of
child
wood to
you
start
made.
onto? Oh yeah, if you look at Nick Berry Art on Instagram, you'll be able to find it on there.
I've just seen that Rob Random has said that Greg looks like a teapot type of guy.
No, that's the teapot was something at Detectable, the magic teapot, where it was basically a 24-hour wooden structure ran by musicians. It was you rented your cup for £6 and drank free tea and coffee, or give them donations. We were just well chilled out there. You look like the type of person who'd like it there with us. That's what.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely tea over coffee. Definitely.
You could pick up any musical instruments and join in. Is one of them.
That is definitely me. Definitely me.
Yeah, it was one of the best things at Detectable for me. My son.
It's one of the best things at any event I've ever been, to be honest.
Yeah, it was really good. It was just what you want. You know, Hard Day's detecting. They had a fire pit and live music. Everyone in there was just mellow and chilled, and it was really, really good.
Love it.
Going back to the fines, is the fines recording. We won't go into it. It's a whole show on that, but it's so antiquated. I mean, it just makes me. I know the British Museum has got to go through tenders and they've got to go through due diligence. So our NCMD have got a fines app, and there's other fines apps out there, and they can just launch it as long as your data is safe. That's fine. But sadly, the British Museum is always going to be behind because of budget restraints and processes and procedures.
Yeah.
And I know, I could probably knock something up, where it could create a portal for all flows, which you submit a find, and if you haven't got a flow, it automatically sends it to the next one, and it will update you, received, in progress, complete, it's treasure, it isn't. And there's no paperwork, no emails, no phone calls, it's just a portal. But sadly, that is going to take, if it happens, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And it, sorry.
So it's a really good point, but at the same time, we have benefited in the last 3 or 4 years, and actually by people on the Facebook forums, by giving money to digitize the British Museum's own national collection, and they've managed to do that, and it's a very good resource. So they can do it with the stuff they've got in house, but they don't seem to want to push it out there. And one of the discussions I want to have is literally, in all seriousness, is look, do you want auction houses and auctioneers who clearly by training and trade are going to have a specialism to be able to tell what is good, what is bad, what needs recording, what doesn't, to be an additional portal, a additional outreach approach, so that you're not having to put potentially 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 fines on 50 individuals who simply don't have the time or ability to process that sort of information. And I wish they'd simplify the system. I don't understand why you have the listings that you can book in but you can't see publicly. Then they have a waiting validation. Then they have validation. And I'm sure everyone has seen things that are awaiting validation that are 10 or 15 years old. I mean, how long will it take to actually validate them? It's a gargantuan project and a massive dragnet that no one has actually really considered the impact of. And so it would be very useful at this stage, especially when they're changing the rules and regulations, to actually look more seriously at how can they solve this long term. Because for all of the wants and ills and disruptive forces within legislation, we have to be thankful that compared to France, Italy, most of Eastern Europe, we have an amazingly liberalized system towards the fines process. And it doesn't seem like it with some things, but bye, Adrian. But we are very fortunate. In some countries, if you find something, people are that just don't want to report it because they know as soon as it's public, it will be taken from them. And I'm glad we don't have that state of affairs in the UK, and we still don't have the laws preventing that. But you can see that there are forces trying to push that way, and they're misguided in that approach ultimately. And and we will always try and make a position that is a gateway between the metal detecting community and heritage institutions, which may not always see eye to eye. That's the way it is.
It is. I agree.
So you mentioned in our private conversation, Greg, that you may have a reveal or two for us this evening.
Yeah, I don't know how I can share actually my screen, but I've definitely sent you some images in there. I mean, this is just one of the things I've been working on today, which is very, very cool. So obviously I'm in charge of coins and medals, commemorative medals, not military medals, in my day job. And sometimes you just get objects that are so cool and so profound that you just know they're going to make cover images. And so when we had the recent case of, with Rodney Cook Memorial Rally, when Lewis found that fantastic Eastern Ertos quarter stater, you just knew when that object came in, one, that it was a find of the year, no question. You've got a new ruler from Iron Age Britain and one of the earliest people to speak a language on a coin. Very, very cool. You know that's going to be a cover coin straight away. Whereas we've got a new one today, and obviously if Dave can find the image, it will show you. But it's it's something that's actually quite modern and something that obviously a detectorist is sadly never going to find in the ground. And if they did, it would be a real moment of truth. But
I've only got one image. I've only got one image off you.
Oh, well then I can send a separate one. Hang on a minute.
The one with the red square one you've sent.
There you go.
Oh, yeah,
that's just come through.
Ah, that's better.
There you go. And
I'm excited.
It's very, very cool. I mean, especially when obviously the news has just come out about the King's new coinage that's coming out. It's just been released in the last couple of hours, as I've had a frantic few emails back and forth with press journos about it. But you also get this. This is something I've picked up today. Now, that is a portrait of Edward VIII. He was a king for all of 11 months back in 1936, and he famously abdicated to marry Wallis Simpson. There are a lot of echoes of what happened between Harry and Meghan in the last couple of years, but this is something really, really special. So the Royal Mint actually got to the point of producing coin portraits for the king, and they also produced a couple of very, very rare gold medals that were used as prizes at schools and institutions that had obviously a lot of money in the 1930s. And this is one of the very, very few that portrays Edward VIII, because of course, if it had been made for 1935 or 1937, it would show a different king, because Edward VIII was only on the throne in 1936. So to have that, it is unique. It has the biggest coin portrait you will see of Edward VIII.
Wow.
It is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And it's an official Royal Mint product in gold. So to see a coin portrait of Edward VIII, that's very, very special. And that's something that is, I've just consigned it today, and I can already see it on the front cover of a catalogue in New York in January, because it's just so special. And so, yeah, I mean, alongside my work with Detectorist, I also get these incredibly cool moments where it's like, actually, that one is going to go in the newspaper, and two, that is going to be something that is really going to excite people when it comes to the auction block. That's just one of those days where you can just really feel the buzz of doing it. Very, very cool. And yeah,
Greg,
there's your exclusive.
Greg, with this being your job and a hobby, I presume, do you struggle in the back of your mind thinking, I could afford that? I could buy that.
It's a very fair question, and it's something that as a professional, I get asked all the time. Are you a collector? Do you collect? How did you get into it? And of course, everyone that has started in the coin world or within any collector's series has been involved in it in some way. So for me, I started with collecting Edward I pennies, and the reason I did that was because I saw the images in the Coins of England catalogue, ironically, were really bad, and I thought that if you collected really good quality Edward I pennies, that was a really good thing. And so that was my entry level. It was affordable, but it was a way of me really learning the system. But that was when I was 15, 16, 17. now, because I see things like that come across my desk, one, I don't have the funds on earth to start buying all of these things. And two, as an auctioneer, I can't sit there with a straight face and say, oh yes, this is going to get the best price if I know I'm going to be the one bidding on it. I mean, so it's from that point of view, it's just easier to say, you know what, draw a line, catalog this thing, enjoy it for the moment you have it, but actually it's not yours and it will never be yours. So just do it as if it were, but never put money where your mouth is, and just allow.
Have we just had another exclusive as well, Greg? With the by the sound of it, the British Museum getting broken into or something.
Oh well, this is obviously the story with the missing finds from the British.
No, we could hear the police in the background.
Oh yeah,
because they're only down the road. Yeah.
They're literally 100 meters from me. I could throw a stone and break one of the windows. I'm not going to.
And that's why the police are there.
Yeah, I mean that it's very interesting because I was at one of their meetings a couple of days ago, and they're very tight-lipped about everything that's gone on because it's very embarrassing, which is understandable. But there are a lot of good people at the British Museum who are thoroughly embarrassed by what has happened. But there's also this is going to become more apparent at a lot of institutions because all of them are being forced to digitize their collections, and they're going to discover things that might have been missing quarter of a century, half a century. And so, is it fair to blame someone who worked there last week, or is it actually something that's a much older problem? So again, it's important that things get digitized because as I go back to what I was saying earlier, I mean, it's really useful for us in the private sector to be able to tell how many of these things exist if these collections are digitized and easily accessible. But we don't know what's going to turn up or what may not turn up, as the case may be. With that.
I think it's not just the British Museum, but I know multiple people who had things go missing from flows and museums over the years.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they've been stolen. They've probably fallen behind a filing cabinet and they'll be found in 30 years' time. But it does happen. It does happen.
It's the thing that haunts you most as a professional. And if you take your job seriously, whether that's in the auction sector, whether it's a heritage FLO, whether it's anything like that, if you genuinely value the things you're dealing with, you will be absolutely paranoid about something going missing. And you should have every protection in the world to do it. What?
Robert Randomas, have they still got the Ark of the Covenant in the warehouse?
Didn't that melt the face of the Nazis in Indiana Jones?
It did. It's always a good news.
Yeah. What is well, it brings on the question, what's the coolest thing in the British Museum other than the obvious things that are on public display? I mean, one things that people don't realise is that King George III was a private coin collector. And so if you ask nicely, you can actually see his own personal collection in the British Museum.
Wow.
And it's beautiful because they have his tickets. And bizarrely, they weren't donated by him in his lifetime. They were donated by his son, George IV, who was a massive spendaholic. He built Buckingham Palace. And I'm kind of surprised that he didn't sell the coins off to fund things like that. But he actually
Steve Cord will be absolutely devastated because he was at the British Museum 2 days ago.
Well, I mean, I don't think any of them are on display, which is really annoying. But they do summer internship programs. They do summer school days. So if you get onto one of those programs, you get to handle these things, and it is a real treat. That's them. That's the British Museum at its best, undoubtedly.
No, that's amazing. Just whilst we're talking about museum and coins and things, going back to Spinks, what's the largest auctioned coin you have personally sold? I know, but just people in the chat.
Oh yeah. I mean, I it's been a pretty incredible ride the last 18 months since Michael Lee Mallory found the Henry III gold penny back in September 2021. And that, as an individual coin find, is the most valuable single coin find ever found in Britain. It's the highest grossing medieval coin ever sold at auction. And that sold for £540,000 hammer price. So all in 648,000 sterling back in January 2022. And then as I came off the rostrum, literally as I came off the rostrum, I got a call back from the finders of the Ellaby Area Hoard, which we advertised at the Rodney Cook Rally in 2022. and they had literally found a cup of 250 gold coins under their floor, and the cup is, no bigger than this. And it was stuffed to the brim with gold guineas, Charles I Unites, James I Laurels. Extraordinary, full to the brim with gold. And they'd never picked up a metal detector. They just put a pickaxe through their kitchen floor, and they just found dozens of gold coins. And so, as a single find, although it was 260 coins, that then went and made £750,000 as a single find. So that it covered their kitchen renovation at least. But yeah, I mean, it's some of the things that I have handled are genuinely mind-bending when you actually put it into the context. And again, in both of those cases, they both went through the treasure process. They both had all of the proper procedures put through them, and they were then disclaimed for sale. But the sad thing is, we did actually get a meeting from the Department for Culture, Media and Sport in relation to the Henry III gold penny, and that was actually cited as a case for the reason for the new treasure law and the reason of fines of significance. So I do apologise, because that was actually quoted as a reason for the new legislation. But there we go. So there you go. So I'm now in Hansard in Parliament as well. So I do apologise to everyone for that one.
Yeah. Greg, I picked up issue 46 I showed earlier, the Spink Insider. And you know what? The quality of it as a product is absolutely fantastic. Tell us about the Insider for people who don't know about it, please.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, this goes back to the outreach. We could all be very nerdy, very esoteric individuals that just spend our days cataloging coins or stamps or banknotes or medals, and no one could really understand or get a reason for why we do it. We all have our passions, we all have our interests inside and outside of work. But what we do with the Insider is we really want to make it that connection point between our collectors. We have 20, 30,000 people across the world that read this thing, but it gives us an opportunity not only to share people that are writing new books or things to do with the metal detecting community, but also to do to tell the story of why do we get into this? Is this a profile about a specialist who works with Spink, or who has worked with Spink, or has consulted with Spink, or other parts of the industry? Or is this something where someone has really championed some particular story, whether it's a really cool naval battle from Trafalgar? What is the story of this medal or this individual within it that couldn't be told within the confines and abilities of an auction process, but could be told in the story of a coffee table magazine? And we really pride ourselves on that, because we think it's a really useful tool to be able to say to people, look, we're not just an auction house, we're not just a corporate entity. We actually pride the fact we're an institution. People come to us, they respect our judgment on things. We're not going to get everything right, and that's both on a human level and on a corporate level. But actually, the things that we do try to put as outreach, it shows that we have a human side, we have a human interest, and we really care about the things that we sell more than just selling them. And so having the Insider as well is a really good way of doing that, because people don't have to worry about money, they don't have to worry about buying things. They just see, oh yeah, great, this is really interesting. And it fosters
I think
that
you come across well with that, Greg, definitely.
Well, I hope to think it's not fake, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I was very fortunate, Rodney Cook, to have dinner with you, not just two of us, because that would be wrong. There was a
massages.
Where was my invite?
I think you did actually call us, but you were 3 sheets to the wind.
Yes. And I ended up doing something inappropriate.
You were enjoying the live music.
Yeah. But we had a lovely meal, and it was great. And Greg is a lovely guy, and Spinks is good. And
I'll pay later.
I've just got to say, don't be daft. I've just got to say, we've got Nocta detectors from Turkey in the chat,
and it's probably Dilek. Hello, Dilek.
Yes, hello, Dilek. Thank you for
joining us. And if it's not Dilek, hello, whoever it is. And also, if you go over to Nocta Detector's Facebook page, or it's on the Big Detective Show, RCM, DMAG, etc., you'll see an introduction by Dilek before about where they currently are with the beta testing of the AccuPoint, which Shane and Adrian are currently participating in. It is Dilek, and wow.
Yeah, hi Dilek. I've got an NDA against that pinpointer, but the minute that
wow.
What pinpointer did you use, Greg?
Aha, so this is a funny question. So I actually, after the Rodney Cook rally, I went out metal detecting 2 days in a row for the first time in 7 years as a result of Rodney Cook. So that's the impact of the legacy of metal detecting, hasn't he? Even doing a couple of hours on the field. And I stumped up to get a Deus, not the 2, I got the 1, because on recommendations from friends. And then I was gifted with it a Garrett Carrot. So I've always been a Garrett pinpointer user. The first version never really did it for me, but the second one seems to be working okay. But yeah, I remember a time that I actually, when I first started, I used to use a wall pipe detector, because I didn't know that the pinpointers used it. So my parents would always be very confused as to why the pipe detectors would go missing, and then they turn up again muddy. So I had to admit eventually, and it works. If you haven't got a Garrett Carrot or
it does work.
It does work.
It's just don't get it wet or get dirt in it.
Correct.
But the Nocta pinpointer, the new one, is wireless to the detector.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Yeah, it's good, and it's waterproof, and it's got a colour screen and everything. But I've been using it the last couple of weeks, and it's a bit of a game changer. In
Adrian,
the world of
big
detecting.
news from Dillac. All are now released from NDA.
Right. Well.
Here's the exclusive. So we've had an exclusive from Gary. We've had an exclusive from Greg. Now it's Adrian's turn.
And Dave.
Yeah.
And Dave.
It syncs with the Nocta Legend detector and I think the Simplex Ultra. But it's fantastic. I've had it in water. I've used it in streams. I've used it in the field. I've used it with different detectors, because this is the one thing that they're very. I think it runs at 20 hertz, Dilek, if I'm not right, which is quite high frequency for a pinpointer. But I've used it with the Deus 1, Deus 2, Equinox 800, Manticore, Legend, obviously, and there's no interference from it, which is nice. It's got a frequency shift on it, but it is a fantastic pinpointer. Oh, I am correct. Thank you. Yeah. It's not cheap, colour. But yes. Well, you could call it the Noctanana. Garrett Carrot, but the Noctanana. But it's been a pleasure to use, and I thank Nocta for sending me one. It's my go-to pinpointer now. I'm fighting with my son.
It would be mine, but Shane's using it. And Shane is a massive Garrett Carrot fan. And I got from him on Saturday was, Dave, this is growing on me. Dave, this is growing on me. Dave, this is really growing on me. He went out the next day and he found this little beauty with it. Let me just show you this little beauty, wherever it is. And
Great.
he said, basically, I don't think the speed of the acupoint is exceptional, isn't it, Adrian?
Yeah, it's very sensitive. You never need it on full power.
Yeah. He found that little beauty with it.
That's pretty.
That's nice.
Question I'm going to ask is: was it found in 2 pieces, or did
it was found in 2 pieces?
Okay.
The little bit came first.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, you've got a Deus 1, Greg. Great machine, really good.
I was a Gold Max user as well, so I'm sort of I've been XP for a long time.
Yeah, I like the XP machines and the tones, but they're very expensive. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Tony Kaywood says, does it connect through the detector or the headphones directly?
Headphones detects, and it turns off the coil as well, so there's no interference. But yeah. Nocta have come an amazing way, really have, over the years. A bit like sort of Deus did like 12 years ago when they XP, they went from the Gold Max and then suddenly brought out this magic stick wand thing. Nocta have really come leaps and bounds over the last few years. They're proper getting at it. But at the end of sorry.
No, you were saying. At
the end of the day, you get people with a Garrett Ace 250 finding sort of a gold noble, and it's you've got to walk over it. But yeah, and there's Steve Cord in the chat. He won a Legend on the show last at Christmas. We gave away a detector on the show kindly from Nocta. But yeah, So, have you been out detecting since Rodney Cook, Greg?
Twice,
or not?
yeah. And the funny thing was, because I was using the Deus on places I've been before, and this again, it's the old adage: no place is ever hunted out, no place is ever completely out of signals. But it's weird, with the Gold Max, I knew that I'd got to the threshold of I can't push this any further. When you get really familiar with a machine, you just know you've got to its limits. What's weird is, because I'm still quite new to the Deus, which I appreciate sounds stupid considering it's 10, 12 years old machine, is literally at this moment in time, I have no idea how many signals I'm going to find. It just feels like it just sort of replenishes the field before you dig. It's bizarre, but it's the only time I've ever felt like I actually have no idea how many signals I'm going to dig today, because there's just so much noise and so many signals, so many, it feels like it's freshened up a field again, which is extraordinary. And that just shows the jump in technology, and it makes you wonder, if you're picking up cut quarters now, what the hell are people going to be finding when the technology goes further and further and further in the future? It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I think the only downside to it is the technology. So if you go back to a non-digital multi-frequency machine, so like an old C-scope or something like that, you're relying on your ears to process that tone to what you think it is. At the moment, our ears and brains is the circuit board in the Deus 2, the Legend, the whatever multi-frequency machine, the Manticore or whatever. And that has got to be right for that soil.
Yeah.
And with everyone on social media, the Chunky Monkey Gold Finder program, you get a detector and you go in there and you change all the settings because so-and-so has just found a quarter stater with it in sort of North Scotland, but yet Dave in Cornwall, not him, another one, has got totally different soil, and I think it can get overcomplicated. I went out on Sunday with a Root Assault 71, my favourite machine.
Sent me a picture, didn't you? Look what I'm using.
I did. I thought, I'm very fortunate. I've got a lot of detectors. I took the Legend with me and the AccuPoint to test the pairing on the headphones. And I thought, I fancy going a bit old school. So I got my old 5-year-old Altus 71 out, single frequency. I had the time of my life. Didn't find sod on.
Adrian, another big reveal. Bottom of the screen.
Oh.
AccuPoints.
Is that more sort of...
Dilek says, have a great night all. Next show I'm on, which I'm waiting for her to get back with a date, we'll give AccuPoints away. Doctor loves you all. Bye.
Send Greg
Thank
one.
you
He'd like
very,
that.
very much.
Send Greg one.
Well, the problem is, if I sit at the office, I just do it on my desk. I'm going to come up with lots of lovely things.
Yeah.
But at least you know it'll work.
True,
Yeah,
true.
Someone in the office would go, Greg's brought an inappropriate product in.
Again.
Again.
No. Yeah.
But that's actually an interesting point. And one of the things that I've mentioned to a lot of the academics is COVID had a really strange effect on the find patterns that people were making. I noticed in 2020, 2021, there was an absurd number of 12th century silver coins turning up. And it was a really high level of Eustace Fitzjohn, Stephen, the Watford type pennies that some people are lucky to find, Tealby's. And my suspicion is that because we weren't allowed to travel very far from home because of the legislation that was in force, people were forced to do pasture fields or things close to where they were living or residing at the time. And as a result, because most towns and villages within the United Kingdom were formed in the 12th century, you end up with a scattergun that's weirdly out of joint with normal finds, because people often go further away from villages in order to go for farmers' fields 20 miles from home. And so we ended up with this weird profile that for 18 months, there were more baronial pennies than one would expect. And there were email chains flying around going, is this a hoard? I mean, and I was saying, no, it's literally they're coming up all over the place, but it's because people were searching against what they normally would do. And I've noticed now, because I think it must be something to do with the frequency settings that people are using, or the fact that people are going on potentially, closer to home sites are more pasture fields than arable fields because things aren't being turned over as much thanks to the change in legislation with the EU and the need to turn things over every 5 years in order to keep them as arable. But you're getting a lot more in terms of milled gold. I don't know what is happening, but at the moment that there is a big run of milled gold. So half sovereign.
Not for me.
I know, but it's really strange, and I'm sitting there trying to think how is this happening? What is causing this? And I mean, I can give you an answer for the one 2 years ago, but I can't give you an answer for all this milled gold. I just can't. It's really strange.
The one 2 years ago, I don't know. You've spoken to these people, but could it be in COVID? A lot of people were sitting at home thinking about, I haven't done that for years. I've got one of them up the loft, whether it's an old air rifle from 1978 or an old sea scope. Do you ever ask them what metal detector they were using?
I do as a personal interest point because it's a rapport and an icebreaker, isn't it? Oh, what signal did it give? What frequency were you in? How deep was it? I find that out because, in a weird sense, that's part of due diligence. I find out from someone, is this person a night hawker or is this person genuinely talking? They talk to the landowner. This is all above board. So the more I hear about the conversation they tell me about the find, the better, because it gives me that profile. And, as a metal detectorist, I can think and imagine like them. Whereas someone who's never done it will never have that rapport or that understanding of, after 5 hours of walking through a muddy field and getting everything caked in mud and digging up ring pools and bits of, scrap metal, all of a sudden this comes up out of nowhere. I've been there. We've all felt that. And so I can live that experience.
And you're not going to say, yes, Adrian, 90% were using the Deus One.
Well, I mean, so the Henry III was the Deus One. I'm trying to think. I think the Eastern Ertos was a Deus One with a high frequency coil. Yeah, I mean, weirdly, and this is not a criticism against Minelab or the others, but we haven't had much from Noctas or Minelabs or Garrett's recently.
This isn't a coin, and it might not interest anybody, but as people know, I don't have the most amazing finds, but when I find something that...
It doesn't matter, Dave.
To
Whatever
me,
matters to you.
I find this is absolutely beautiful. I found a button at the weekend in West Yorkshire, and I've asked all the library button groups, but they keep the sort of like not accepting the post because it was obviously found by a metal detectorist. Has anybody got any idea about what this is? So to me, where it says Ye Triumph of, it's got a donkey, it's got a fat bloke, probably me, with a big nose, probably me, and a garland of laurels around his head, holding something with a bird on, and a lady walking alongside him. And I cannot find anything anywhere on any database similar. So if anybody can help me with that peculiar button, I would very much appreciate it. And sadly, the obverse doesn't give any information. It's Adrian's gone again.
No,
he doesn't like it.
No, my laptop's not charging.
So if anybody can help me on that, I would thoroughly appreciate it. And that's been composite cleaning pencil waxed.
Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, the date range for it, because you've got ye, which weirdly, whenever we see ye old in or whatever, we think ye is pronounced ye. That is just how medieval and Tudor man wrote the. Y is the. So they would have pronounced that the triumph of, even though we know it as a Y. That would suggest that it's either old cod English, or it's imitating that style. And judging by the way that the button is made, I'd say you're probably looking 1800, 1850. I'm trying to think of Shakespearean stories or Aesop's fables where there is a fat bloke, a donkey, and a woman, and I can't think of one off the top of my head. But I imagine it's probably some sort of satirical fable, like Lord Falstaff from Henry V. There's something about, he's a portly gentleman who likes a drink now and again. I'm sure there's something to do with a donkey in that.
He's got something big in his left hand as well.
Yeah,
it looks like a bird actually, to me. when you look at it.
It could be a phallic.
Dirty.
symbol.
I know. I thought it was going to be sort
Because-
of like a livery button from some
He's not
person
actually
who
on the
had lots
horse,
of money.
though, is he? He's not on the horse.
He's riding the donkey there. He's riding
No.
the donkey. He is.
The donkey's got 6 legs.
There's a woman here as well.
There's a woman.
Yeah.
What's he got in his hand? Oh my god, that
It's
coin's
something
really
with a
freaking
bird
me
on.
out.
You
There's
see
a
the
lot.
woman?
It could, yeah. And she's walking, and he's stealing her with his phallic symbol.
And that horse's leg there isn't what you
Oh.
think it is. It's a leg.
Yeah, I know that's a leg.
Anyway,
That's a great
just-
find. That's a great
Just
find.
just quickly, Wayne Rowlands, lovely guy.
Yeah.
you'll
he's
like
doing,
you'll like this, Greg.
He's gone. Oh, Greg, have you got a fines cabinet?
Have I got a fines cabinet?
Yeah.
I do. It's currently
No,
in a
you
safe
haven't.
that I can't get into.
Right. Well, Wayne Rowlands makes beautiful woodwork fines cabinets. Absolutely
Bespoke.
lovely.
Bespoke.
And could he possibly make you one for a review?
I welcome that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he makes. Yeah, I don't think that'd be from Spinks. It'd be from Greg, but it could be in your magazine, Dave, or on Facebook.
Yeah, I'd like to put in the Spink Insider as well. I mean, that's the whole point of the Insider. It's supposed to be things outside of what we do in work.
He's,
Delighted to.
He's ex-military, and he's got a workshop at the end of his garden, and he makes beautifully crafted.
Good
cabinets.
box it, Greg.
We
If you have a
like
look on-
British made, British manufactured. Yeah, we'll
Have
do
a look
that.
at Box It, and I'm sure Wayne will post something on the Big Detecting Show group, and you can see it on there. But his Beast recently was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really, really
Absolutely.
nice.
Yeah. Love to.
Yes, that's
Well,
nice. Oh,
Greg, I honestly, there's not many people I can say this about, could sit and listen to you all night. Sadly, Gary took up hours and hours.
bloody Gary and John, they're like
Gary,
silly
John.
and sweet, aren't they?
God.
Oh.
Honestly, but I
Not
could
allowed to.
listen to you all night. You're a mind of information. You're fascinating. Everything you say, it's just learning. Yeah, what Adrian's pointing there.
What does that actually scan to? I'm finding out.
Spinks.
Oh, you are so high tech. Let me just check that works.
Well, we're not. We're not.
Bloody
high-tech.
hell.
So
Yeah, it
scan
does.
that,
Not
everyone.
bad.
Go to Spinks. If you have any
does.
fines or coins sitting in your bottom drawer, and you think, or it could be stamps, it could be anything. Contact Spinks.
Yeah,
Um,
and the other key thing is, and there's something people don't appreciate, but because we've all got smartphones now, if you photograph something on the day you find it, that is really useful information for when it comes to recording, even if it's 12 months later, because you can prove the day you found it because the data is within that image. And so many times, all I've done is I've presented that image with that date to a fines liaison officer, and they've gone, "Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not trying to wangle the system. This is not after the 30th of July." So whatever you do to record fines, when you make them, whether it's logged in your metal detector or whether it's on your smartphone, you sent it to a mate saying, "Look what I've just got." It's a really useful data point.
Good call.
So yeah,
A bit
do it.
from the button. Ange said, could it be from the Canterbury Tales?
Yeah.
Tony Haywood says, Chaucer. Is that pronounced correctly?
Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer. Yeah.
And Anthony Mims said, Joseph on a donkey, pregnant phallus Mary next to him on a donkey, a piss take button.
It could well be. Yeah, it could be something biblical. Yeah, it kind of has that feel about it. It's really cool. Love that.
He finds cool stuff, Dave. Doesn't find anything of value, but historical interest, massive, don't you, David?
Yeah, me
Yeah,
penny
I love that.
aeroplane.
Yeah, penny aeroplane.
See, only Julian
thank-
Evan Hart could claim to that same level. So
He's not interested in planes, though, and aircraft.
No, not at all. No, I don't get that
No,
at all. No.
And I mean, you didn't get to spend any time to him and listen to any of them stories at RCM
No.
either, did you? Sadly.
No, he's very shy, Julian Evan Hart.
Oh, good old Jules.
Yeah.
Anyway, Greg, as I say, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on the show. For those of
as
you
always.
who listen or want to listen, we do in a couple of days. We'll transfer this to our Spreaker account as well, so you can get it on Spotify and all good podcast places as well, and listen to it as a just verbal as opposed to visual. So go over to Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Heart Radio. So you can hear him.
Used by Jamie Theakston or something.
Probably not. Or Jamie and his magic torch, probably.
Oh, I used to like that. And also, mustn't forget, congratulations to Rodney Cook for raising £103,000.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
So mustn't forget that. And thank you, Gary, for coming on the show.
Their find of the year is a new world record. There you go. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, the Eastern Urtus Quarter State absolutely smashed the world record.
I would like to see what our find of the year would make. That was our awards this year was
I saw
Jason
it was
Jones's Viking die.
The press blech that sold for 19,600, I think.
So that's our record find of the year, Adrian.
We just hit. Well, it's nice because ours just went for 20,400. So we clearly had a good eye, both of us.
Yeah,
there you go.
Right, it's been a longer show than normal, but none of us are complaining because Greg's fantastic to listen to. So, again, thanks, Greg. Thank you to Gary and to John. And as I say, anytime you want to come on the show to talk about anything you want to talk about regarding up and coming sales, anything, just give me a shout, Greg. You're more than welcome to come on. And we will see you all next week, where we will have Brian Goodsir Thompson as our guest from Monarch Designs. So see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Find lots of things. The sun will be shining. Good night, y'all.
Rock.